Good morning, everybody. Hang tight. We'll get started in just about 1 minute. Make sure you get your paper and pencil ready. Looking forward to it. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday morning. Another week has passed, and a whole lot of things have changed in the last week. So roll up your sleeves, get your pencil out, and let's get ready to get started. My name is Rick Plasket. I am a business coach, executive coach with Action Coach Louisville. And what we're talking about today is what the 7 steps are that we need to take from a business standpoint to get through these times and to get ready to come out of this time when the turning point hits. Um, what we've done is we've used 7 steps, and those 7 steps remain constant through the last couple of weeks and will continue to remain constant as we look forward. But I wanted to also focus on what are we looking at and how we use that template to look at where you are right now and get you focused on the right priorities. Again, this morning we're talking about business. We're looking at what you need to do right now and why. Recognize that this is a journey. And just like GPS tells you to recalculate, we recalculate. From last week to this week, there's a number of recalculations. Our focus is also on surviving right now and getting ready for the Thrive season. Listen, folks, if nothing else, we need to learn. Everything has changed. Everything is going to be new. We're not going back to an old normal. We're going back to a new normal. So there's a huge opportunity here for us to learn. So listen, before I get started on the 7 steps, what I want you to do right now is draw 3 bell curves right next to each other. In other words, a McDonald's sign with one more hoop. Okay. Under the far left one, label that deny. Under the center, survive, and under the right, thrive. Listen, it doesn't matter where we are. This is like being in a roller coaster. There's some people that absolutely deny the fact that that roller coaster is going to scare them. There's some people that want to survive, and they're typically the ones that are in the middle or the back, and most of them ride this entire ride with their eyes closed and screaming. And then you have the type that want to thrive. They're the ones that are usually sitting in the first car. They're the ones that want to see everything, can see where things are changing, and are enjoying the ride. It doesn't matter where you are, the roller coaster is going to take you from the start to the finish. And what we need to know as leaders is that people are in different parts of this ride, and we need to meet them where they are. So how do we do that? There's 7 steps to doing that. And the first step is being the leader. Okay. And I don't have control. There we go. Okay. Be the leader. Listen, every single one of us is a leader of our family, leader of our business, and leader of our community, even though we are socially distanced. Okay. The second thing, and this is probably the key focus of this week's webinar, is to identify your support. There's a whole lot out there. What does it mean to you? That leads us to the third point: assess your situation. Again, there's a whole lot of support that just came out this last week, and it's not going to be right for everybody. We need to find what's right for you, and we'll talk about how to do that in this webinar. Targeting the short-term goals. Again, we've got to survive in order to be able to thrive. If you're not in business when this thing turns around, then you can't thrive. So we need to look at those short-term goals and how to focus on just the next step. Okay, we need to adjust our plans. Folks, there's a whole lot of plans that we had. You might as well throw them all out if they were done before the middle of March. New plans are required, and we need to adjust those. Operations, boy, there's a blinding flash of the obvious. We're all under new operations right now. The biggest change that we need to do and continue to do is we've been under a stay at home for the last 2 weeks. We now know it's going to be another 4 weeks. There's going to be even further changes in operations. As the numbers continue to go up, your operations are going to have to change as more and more people are either afraid of being infected or actually are infected, and it's going to come closer and closer and closer to your home and to your operations. Again, plan for the recovery and the new growth. Listen, guys, when we come out of this, the first ones are going to be the ones that are going to really benefit coming out of this. We don't want to be the last or 30 days too late. So that's the format that we're going to use this morning. Let's dive right into it. Okay, being the leader, recognize again that there's a new normal. It's not going to go back. I've said this, and this is a constant here. One of the things I've learned through great teachers in school and in the military is if it's a good idea, we need to repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And so listen, the first thing is leaders need to be great communicators. So how do we do that? Wow, it's real difficult when it's social distancing and we're doing virtual. Again, this is the third time I've done one of these, and I'm learning as we go. All right, and as we at Action Coach Louisville work together, we start to learn, how do we communicate? How do we use Zoom? How do we get the right information at the right time? It's kind of interesting when you're used to being in an office and you can just zip by and do a strafing run on somebody else and pass an idea off, and all of a sudden we're all virtual. That opportunity isn't there. So listen, in communication, consider a football team. How does a football team communicate during a game? They have a regular huddle. They look at that huddle as the next play. What are they doing? Who's doing it? And who needs help? Break. When we're all virtual or we're all distanced in one way or the other, that's what a leader does. Has a daily huddle. Make sure that everybody knows what to focus on that day and what's the most important thing, particularly when things are changing so quickly. So a daily huddle, absolutely have a Zoom call, a audio call or something with all of your people and even your top clients. That would be a benefit. Look at how do we communicate daily on just what's important that day. That's a huddle. Break. It shouldn't be any more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. Football team uses a timeout too. Timeout's called when something changed. When we got to take a deep breath, look at what changed, and look at how we're going to do it differently. Don't be afraid to call a timeout. Okay, things are changing all over the place. Just last night, there was a new loan here in Louisville for small businesses that came out. Calling a timeout and saying, hey, does that work for us? Absolutely. Weekly plan in a football team is like the Monday film reviews. We look at what happened last week, how did we come out of that, and what's going to happen this next week. It's a little bigger than the daily operations, but that's absolutely something that we need to do in the survival mode, is get everybody aligned on this next week. Leaders, don't let them go all over the place. We need to look at how do we keep them focused on what they can control. And that's your job as a leader. There's plenty of leaders out there. If you've got plenty of time, get on Netflix and look at all the Star Trek series. Okay, the captain of every single enterprise always has the ability to plan, what are we doing next? What are we doing when we leave the ship? Who's got control of the ship? That's the weekly planning, and we should be doing the same thing. The recovery plan. Guys, right now, I know it seems like we're elbows deep in alligators, and a lot of us are. Now's also the time where we have to purposefully look at how do we come out of this? Good leaders are looking at, yes, we got to defend and survive right now. Great leaders are looking at, how do we come out of this? And if you're not planning now, you're going to be behind. And when you're behind, you won't make money. Simple as that. Okay. Listen, another thing that being a leader is, seek help. Listen, nobody has ever gone through this type of stuff in your business before. Nobody. If you're out there alone, you only know what you know. There are resources out there that can help. I just had one of my clients we coached earlier this week on some of the stimulus packages. He texted me first thing this morning and told me he's applied, and with that application came a fact sheet of what it is, how to do it, and what it means. And then he came to me and said, we need to sit down and look at this and say, what does it mean for me? Because recognize that everything that's being told to us, everything that is being sent to us is in the most generic form. And again, it's not everything is right for your business where you are right now. Seek the help, seek the guidance, talk to people, and make sure we are focused on the right priority now. This is where a little bit of being off target, when we get to the end, we're going to be greatly off target. And again, acting decisively. These stimulus packages have come out. $2 trillion. Wow. Okay. Even if we take that and chunk it down, the numbers that they're talking about for different types of loans are huge. We need to act decisively. It seems like that's going to be a lot. I've heard two different mentors that I've listened to and taken guidance from just this last week that says, when it comes to all these business stimulus packages, plan to be first. Being 30 days later, there may not be the stimulus money there anymore. So plan to be first and act decisively. Okay, so that's the first part of being a leader. The next part of being a leader is to get my next slide so I can see it. We're still learning. We're still learning. All right. Hey, there we go. It is about the stimulus package. Listen, there are many options. I've got a slide dedicated for that coming up. But the stimulus package is there. Most of the banks are going to be ready for you at the very latest this next Monday. Okay, but the questions you've got to ask right now is, how do you decide what's right for you? And how do I get these resources? You know, a good leader and a great leader is going to be informed. Got to know where it is, and we can help with that. Running your numbers. Listen, there's so much money out there, and just the simple Paycheck Protection Act, there's some booby traps in that one. Okay, it can come out as a loan or it can come out as a grant. We absolutely need to run our numbers. There's no sense in taking on more debt than you have to. And if it's a grant, we want to make sure we do it right. So it's a grant and we receive a grant. We don't have any surprises come the middle of June. Okay, so we've got to run our numbers. And Action Coach Louisville is here to work with you on that. We've already done it. Like I said, I'm working with my clients right now. We've been 2 weeks ahead of this and waiting for it. You know, running your numbers means make sure you've got your financials from 2018 and 2019. They're going to be needed for the application. They're also going to be needed for you to be able to run your numbers and see what you really need. Okay, one of the plans in there, you know, plan A, plan B, plan C. We can't come out with just one plan. You know, I know it seems strange to be going back. I grew up with Sears catalogs. And when you went through Sears catalog, they always had good, better, best. We need to be able to have at least those plans for each of your businesses. What's a good plan? What's a better plan? And what's a best plan? Okay. We don't know which one is going to come out, but if we don't have three, then we're stuck with the one that we have, and that's a light switch. It's either on or off. Again, right now we're in the action phase, action to grab that stimulus and get that money into your account as quickly as you possibly can. Absolutely, we've got to focus on that. Got to focus on the thrive too. I mean, can you imagine a grant for 2.5 months worth of your payroll and your operations, that grant, what could you do with the money that you're not having to use on that? And how can we use that to launch out of this when we hit the turning point? Those are the things that are available to you when you make the right decisions. Again, being quick, got to do that as a leader. Things are happening quick right now. You know, one of the things I learned last night was the mayor of Louisville has almost $1 million available to super small businesses, less than 10 employees. And it can be up to $25,000 to keep you running right now at 0% interest. But guys, $25,000 divided into $1 million, it's not that many businesses for the number of businesses that we have in the city of Louisville. Yes, it's a huge resource. It's going to be a huge resource for the first ones, not the last ones. So again, be quick as a leader, okay? Next thing we got to do after being a leader is we got to look at where's our resources coming from. What's the support that we can have, okay? And that support package is, again, we look back at what do we currently have, what is new and available to us, and what are some of the old things that we once used and we haven't stopped using it. Can we use it again? Listen, the biggest change from last week to this week is in people, is in finances. Those are two areas where you have an abundant resource right now that you can tap into, even virtually. The third one there is logistics. I've said this for 3 weeks and I'm going to continue to say it. Logistics is the thread that holds business together. Logistics is something we need to plan for now. It's going to change. It's changing day by day. It's out there. It's pumping the food back into the grocery stores. It's pumping the raw materials into the businesses that are running. We all depend on logistics, and yet logistics is going to be different when we turn the corner and come back out of this. That's got to be part of your plan. Look at where your resources are there, and we need to lead our people in finding and planning for the new support, okay? So again, people and finances are the biggest things there. Absolutely, there's community service that's still there virtually, and there's customer service. Our customers need to know we're there. You need to communicate. I've got a great little idea on that when we get to that slide in a couple more slides. So listen, know where your support is. You ought to have a whiteboard up that shows where's my current support, where's my opportunity, just like a football team does during recruiting, okay? So again, this is the support, and you need to lead your people, and we need to look at what that support is. Once we know that support, then the next thing we need to do is assess your situation. Guys, take a deep breath and sit back and recognize, yes, you are in a unique situation. We're all in this together, but every single one of us has a unique situation. Understand that, understand where you are and what you need and what's the sources of help that can get you there, okay? Huge changes again in money and people. You know, last week I said, hey, people that are available. Well, people that are available, excuse me, that are still available are college kids and high school kids. There's an awful lot of technological and virtual savvy out there, and they're sitting at home. Rescue a parent on that. There's also an awful lot of food service people out there right now that would love the opportunity to do anything virtual for you. You know, there's resources out there that we can use to move our business forward, and they will be greatly appreciated. And again, it's the new normal. Look for the opportunities. Last week when we were talking about this, we were looking at the middle of April. Now we're looking at absolutely the end of April. We're going to be closed down until the end of April and maybe beyond that. When we look at our situation, again, we look at survive first. We have to. If you're not looking at how do I come out of this going forward and thriving, you're not leading your people, okay? Going forward, listen, if you're a car dealership right now or an automobile manufacturer, going forward, Do you think that there's going to be an abundance of people wanting to jump into brand new cars when we come out of this? Probably not. Okay. Their going forward is going to look a whole lot different than the services that are deemed in this time period essential. You know, we can define that and we can debate that all over the place. What's essential and what's not essential? The fact of the matter is, people going forward, we've got a whole month and a half of looking at what is essential and what's not essential. They're going to make up their mind. And if you have anything that's essential, they're going to look at that first. That will be a new normal. It's not the standard of what used to be. Okay. Again, I've said this a couple of times, and it is absolutely imperative that we say it again. When thinking in difficult times, in crisis moments, a lot of times it's just human nature. We do yes or no, either or mindset, and that's dangerous. That's a light switch. We're either all on or all off. And if we make the wrong decision, we bump into furniture and get hurt. Okay. The way you need to think is yes and. Yes, we're here today, and this is what we need to look at. Yes, we're here today, this is what we're doing, this is what we know today, and tomorrow may be different. Yes, and is the mindset of great leaders. And again, the next question, how's this going to affect me? Again, in coaching, got hit with actual quarantining with one of my clients yesterday. Wasn't their direct employee, but it was one of the employee's relatives. Was it anything that was actual? No. Was it perceived? Yes. That person was now not available. They were only available remote. Guys, how is this going to affect us? It's not necessarily going to affect us and we decide whether we continue to work or how we continue to work, but it's going to come in from the outside. The numbers are going to go up. Just last night's news, everybody is telling us the numbers are going to go up. Here in Kentucky, we've been very, very, very fortunate to have great leadership that has kept those numbers pretty much away from Kentucky. It's inevitable. The numbers are going to get closer and closer and closer to us. And we need to be ready for it. And how is it going to affect you? Again, another great leader asked the question, what if? We got to make these assessments quickly and we got to adjust. Okay. Last week I used the word pivot. Pivot is a great word for the mindset in assessing your situation. Pivot is not shut it down and do something completely different. Pivot is you got one foot planted in where we are today, and we're simply shifting ways of doing business and how we're going to focus. Right. So again, third step here is to assess your situation. That should be up on a whiteboard as well, and look at how things change. Okay. Review our goals. Listen, the stimulus bill is a huge game changer. There's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of money that's going to be a grant. Some of us are going to need that money simply to survive. Others are going to be able to use that to survive and position for the new. So when you look at your goals, I know I said, and I will continue to say, look at your 2020 goals and don't give up on them. I wouldn't throw that piece of paper away, but clearly we can't be looking at December goals when we're trying to get through April right now. Look at the short term. What do you need? Not what do you want, what do you need? And how does that short term adjust from this week to this month to the 90 days? Okay, all three of those have got to be interlocking and supportive of each other. If we have one goal and it doesn't support the other two periods, something's wrong. Our plan is not right. Our goals are not right. Okay, in our goals, wow, this was kind of something that hit me between the eyes. And that is, many times our goals, we look at our goals, what we can do. We don't look at where's the help coming from and how do I need to learn. Okay, right now, all of us, because of the slowdown, some of us are running 90 miles an hour with our hair on fire and we don't have to. there's at least an hour every day in this environment where we can sit down, take a deep breath, and learn. Okay, I challenged people to learn how to communicate virtually like this. I've been learning on this. I think I'm getting better. You can tell me about it. Again, I've got thick skin. Go ahead and give me the full contact on how I'm doing. Okay, am I smiling yet, John? Listen, we got to learn. If we don't learn how to communicate, if we don't learn how to plan, if we don't learn how to look at what our customers are going to want and how they're going to make different choices differently when we come out of this, we're going to be left behind. Where's the opportunity? Wow, there's opportunities all over the place right now. And coming out of this, there's going to be even more opportunities. You know, again, if I'm going to run a cruise line, probably not. Okay, but if I'm running a janitorial service, if I'm running anything that can clean, boy, there's going to be huge opportunities there. There's going to be pent up opportunities. You know, I was joking around with my barber. Okay, my barber is absolutely shut down right now, no question about it. You just can't cut hair virtually. Okay, so I was kind of joking with her with a text the other day, say, hey, listen, you need to do a Zoom webinar like this on how to braid hair, because in another 4 weeks, I'm probably going to need it. Okay. But no, where's the opportunity? Here's the other thing. You know, imagine barbers, hair salons, nail salons, you know, the businesses that are absolutely shut down right now that are going to help us feel good about ourselves when we do the turnaround. If they can't figure out how to take double or triple their scheduling load, they're going to miss out. They're absolutely going to miss out. So there's the opportunity, is where we used to do, you know, 4 appointments a day. What's it look like to be able to do 10? How do we do that? Because if we don't, you're going to miss out on the opportunity. So looking forward and looking at how you can get, when things are unpent and everybody is releasing, there's going to be 2 things that they want. They want essentials, and they want something that's going to make them feel good again. If you can address those 2 things coming out of this, if you are an essential, you know, imagine we're coming out of this, they're going to want their houses clean. They're going to want their offices clean. They're going to want to make sure that everything is sanitized. How can we address that? They're going to want stuff delivered to the house. The other side is they're going to want to feel good about themselves. Okay, I said the hair, okay, my hair is already touching my ears. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a military guy and it's bugging me. So I'm going to have a hard time another month from now. But imagine the people that are used to going to a clothing store and they're in the same clothes for an entire month and haven't gotten anything new other than what they can get through Amazon. There's going to be some pent up demand there. We need to be part of that. Okay. So when we look at how do we do that and review your goals on doing that. Now, what's going to get you there? It's going to be your people. And again, your people, we've got that coming up, but your people are going to get you to the goals. If they're not there and they're not healthy, you're a one-man army. One-man army makes a whole lot of work. You're going to be like a duck. You look real nice and calm on the surface, but you're going to be swimming way harder underneath. Right? So reviewing our goals, and again, keeping them short. The stimulus package absolutely changes everything, and we're about to get into that. So after we've reviewed our goals, the next thing we've got to do is get control of my slides again, is adjust the plan. Okay. Now listen, this again, cash is king, payroll protection plan. We've got to, as leaders, we owe it to our people. This payroll protection program, the act, whichever words are the actual there, is a huge thing and a huge safety net for your people. You know, last week we were talking about making cuts, cutting salaries, cutting pay just to keep people on board. Okay, this thing allows a grant. We need to take care of the team, and we need to do that aggressively and let them know they're covered. Okay, payroll protection plan. We need to look at how we're going to use that. And I'm going to stop right here because there's a couple of others, okay? You know, there's other resources, we'll get to that, but go back up to the parable. I don't know how many of you remember the parable of the rich landowner who goes away, and before he goes away, he entrusts 3 of his servants with his riches. Talents is what they called them, okay? 3 of the servants are given different amounts of talents, different amounts of resources. They use them differently and are judged differently at the end. I'm not going to give you the entire story here. The conclusion of that story and the outcome was one was deemed to be not a very good servant, not a good use of the payroll protection plan or any of these other resources. Don't be that servant. The other 2 used those to the best of their abilities and came out better for it, and they were rewarded. That's where you need to be as a great leader, is be one of those 2 worthy servants of this fund that is available to you. And again, I've only got a few of them up here, but the payroll protection plan is out there. We can work with you to tell you what it is, how it could be beneficial for you, and what you should do to get it. Okay, there's other SBA resources. I've covered the disaster loan 2 weeks ago, and it's still available, and it's a great resource. There's a $10,000 SBA grant on top of that. Okay, and then again, like I said, Louisville just announced, the mayor last night announced a $25,000 0% loan, and there's going to be more. By the time we get off, I'm sure there's going to be more resources out there. And if you asked me, just me, not a business coach or executive coach, but just Rick Plasket, I'm going to look at, there's probably going to be another stimulus package coming out. Okay, we don't want to miss the first one and have to take whatever the second one is. We want both. So be one of the 2 servants that uses their talents wisely. And again, when we look at all of this, not only adjusting your plan to use that money, but adjust your plan for your marketing and your sales. Take a deep breath right now, because this is a change from talking about taking care of your people and getting money to do your business to ensuring your customers know you're in business. Listen, it's like screaming in the woods. If no one hears you, the message doesn't get out there. Now's the time to increase the marketing, increase to your customers, increase to your potential customers. Keep them informed. Okay, now I'm going to get to that when it comes to how do we do this and how do we adjust our operations. But make a commitment today that we're going to touch our customers and touch them where they want to be touched. And that is, they're fearful, they need compassion, and they need a solution for where they are right now. And we need to be a marketing tool for that. Okay, if you don't know how to do any of this, again, I know I've said this a number of slides, I'm going to continue to say that. Find guidance that can help you. Get yourself a coach, and you'll be among those first, in the first car of the roller coaster when this thing turns around. Okay, listen, we got to change our business model too. Okay, there isn't a single business that's going to come out of this and go right back to the old normal. Not going to happen. Okay, we need to look at what is your new model. If nothing else, virtual work from home is now a reality. Zoom is a reality that a lot of us didn't know about 2 weeks ago. And Zoom is just all over the internet right now with help on how to use it effectively, how to schedule, how to join, how to record. I mean, there's all sorts of virtual tools out there that's going to be part of the norm and part of the new normal. Okay. Again, I said, keep or change your goals. Wow. Business model is going to change. You know, keep your goals. If your business is something that is an essential, absolutely, probably have to increase those goals. You may have to change your goals if you're going to be a cruise line or the airlines or an automobile manufacturer. That's going to be a little slower to recover. And again, when we look at changing our business model, we're not looking at really blowing it up. We're looking at small little pivots done 100 times. That's what's going to position you to be in a great position when we do hit out of this. Again, your business model, new opportunities in short term. There's a whole lot of people that are hiring right now. Pharmacies, food outlets for distribution. There's a whole lot of people that are hiring. There's an opportunity on the short term right there. How do we get a hold of that? And again, be the first. This is a race. This is a race to survive. And when we come out of this, this is going to be a race to the turning point. And the person that's positioned at the turning point first is going to be the winner. So us baby boomers, we understand what a first place trophy is all about. That's the one you want, not the participation. We want to be the first. Again, get guidance and brainstorm. There's a whole lot of things that are different. Look at these webinars. There's webinars all over the place. There are resources all over the place. Find the resources that you need to help you be the first to that turning point. So don't be afraid to change your business model. Recognize that when I say change your business model is not blowing it up. It is looking at small changes that are going to be big results. All right. So again, changing the business model and getting focused on that. Okay. Our next step. There we go. Adapt our operations. Again, most of us didn't have a plan. Most of us didn't have standard operating procedures for a crisis. Well, guess what? We need one right now. In fact, we're probably 2 weeks behind that. Number one on that, safety and people first. Guys, we already went remote to go social distancing. Social distancing, if you can go remote, we've gone remote. Social distancing has changed our operations in our businesses too. We've added that space inside of our business if we still have to go to work. What we need to do right now in operations is absolutely sit down and look at people and people's safety. And how do you keep functioning? Yes, keep your people safe in your environment and recognize when they leave your environment, we have no control over them. And they don't even know if they're going to be infected when they go to the Kroger. Okay. But somewhere along the way, that either perceived infection or real infection is going to hit. Okay. So again, one of my clients working together, we had a plan to go virtual. Okay. We had a plan on looking at backing people up. We've doubled down on that plan right now because critical people need to have a backup plan. We don't know. I hope and pray that no one really does get sick and get adversely affected by the virus. However, we're in a phase right now, it's going to hit this next week, where people are going to hear about my neighbor 2 doors down, the Kroger that I go to, the gas pump that I just pump gas at. There's going to be a perceived need to self-quarantine before the reality hits. Business leaders, who are your critical people and how do we have them backed up and how do we have them protected? Okay, there's some critical people in your organization. You know who they are right now. How do we back them up? Because if one person goes out, if you got one bookkeeper and that person goes out, who's doing your books? Okay, GE is looking at this in their assembly plant and they shut down an entire building because of this. We need to look at our people and our operations and have contingency plans right now for when someone just says, I think I might have been infected or I think I might have been exposed. That's going to change your operation. How does that change your operation? Listen, I've said it on a number of other slides. We can work with you and show you how to do that. Okay. Again, adapt your operations, looking at going forward. Restaurants are absolutely shut down right now. I don't have an answer to this. This is a rhetorical question. What's the business going to look like for restaurants when they do open up again? Are we all going to rush back and celebrate, or is their volume going to be down? Are they going to need to remove tables to give further distancing? You know, what is the new normal going forward? What's the new normal for your business? Okay. Again, adapting your operations. I said contingency plans, absolute must right now. You know, what happens when people, critical people, aren't available? Because again, if they're not available, they're going to be quarantined for at least 2 weeks, probably 3. What does that happen? What happens if your logistics, all of a sudden you're depending on truck drivers and they're not there? What are our contingencies? That goes into suppliers and stakeholders. And then again, your community. You know, we're in this together. There is a community. It's outside of you, outside of me, and outside of our businesses. But, you know, the community sat in and listened to Mayor Fisher, and he was the first and even hit by national news because he was one of the first mayors to sit there and take down basketball hoops because people weren't social distancing. That's the community. That's going to impact all of us, whether we play basketball or not. That's one of the connections. And then it just tells 2 people and 2 people and 2 people, and all of a sudden our numbers go way up. So again, the community is going to affect us, and we need to adapt our operations. The critical thing this week is focus on your people. People first, and keeping them safe, and then starting to look at our operations and how do we come out of this. This is absolutely where we should be looking at many different ways of coming out of this, many different opportunities, and have contingency plans available. Okay, extending credit. Now let's get into it. The stimulus package, is it right for you? Okay, the first question is, why am I asking that question? Money coming to me? Absolutely, it's right for me right now. That's correct. But who's going to be in charge of this and who gets to make decisions? You do. Okay, if you take too much and it's more than what you need and it's more than what you can justify, you just bought yourself a loan. Okay, if we take the right amount, we keep people employed, we take care of them, and come June, it's forgiven as a grant. That requires leadership, that requires knowing your numbers, that requires planning. Okay, isn't it going to be great to bring people back and to make sure that they can continue to buy stuff? That's what we do. Let's work together on this and help you make that decision. Okay, the question is how much you're going to need. There are pieces in this stimulus package and in each of those loans. And again, there's opportunity that could be left on the table. The stimulus package, there's a clause in there that it covers mortgage payments. It covers rent for your business. Okay, used properly, you know, imagine what it could be when we take that, use the grant for 2.5 months. And let's say we had the contingency fund to pay our rent for 2.5 months for our business. We take that and we put it into a safety savings account. And when we come out of this, we now have money that we can use elsewhere. Okay, that's what I mean about planning now to survive and then going forward with it. There's some huge opportunity here. The disaster loan. The disaster loan is a loan for $25,000 and it's at 3.75% interest. Okay, now if that's less than a 7, 8, or 9% loan on a vehicle that you have in your fleet or any of the other credit that you have already, imagine pulling that loan out, and that takes 30 years to pay it back, and you can use that to refinance. You know, even the mayor's package, $25,000 available to businesses in Louisville with 0% for the next 12 months. Again, that's 0% for 12 months. You know, imagine how many companies could take 0% and the amount that you pay to service your loans now then goes to 0. That puts you in a better position. That's what great leaders do, to look at this and say, how will it help me now and how will it help me after June? If we don't do it right in June, come June 15th, congratulations. Your business now has another loan that you have to service and another interest rate. If we do it right, this is a golden opportunity to jumpstart. And listen, this isn't a gift. This isn't something that we should be looking at and saying, I really don't need this. No, the package here is when you take and shut something down, okay? How many of you ever taken a car and you've parked it for a month and then you go out and you try and get it started again? It doesn't fire right up, okay? At best, it sits there and cranks a little bit, and when it does start up, there's some smoke that comes out of the back because it's been shut down, you know? Others of us have cars and you got to put the battery charger back on it. You got to make sure all of the fluids have moved around, and that car kind of tells you for the next week when you're driving it, you neglected me. Okay, that's what's going to happen to the economy. We have shut down. It's not going to come back smoothly. I don't know how it's going to come back, but it's not going to come back smoothly. These stimulus packages are supposed to help us to help the economy. So where you can help the economy and do extras with your business, that's what this package is for, okay? Consider it this way. We're business owners. We're helping our nation and our government and our economy by keeping people with a paycheck, okay? If we don't do it, then they got to go to unemployment and the government does it, okay? Now, who's better at helping here? Okay, is it us as business leaders or is it the post office? Just going to leave it at that. Okay, so extending the credit, learning how to do that and do it well is going to get you positioned for coming out of this. Okay, marketing and sales. Okay, I've said this before, increase your marketing. Increase, increase, increase. They got to know you're there. You have to be the solution. You have to be compassionate, guys. Listen, marketing has changed. We need to be compassionate and be a solution for what they need right now. I said this last week, and it's absolutely critical because I have witnessed it on TV. I've witnessed it in my own inbox, in my computer, and that is pre-crisis marketing is still out there, and it's inappropriate. People look at it and go, ugh. Don't be the person that's connected with that. Ugh. Okay. Now, with that, be unique. Okay. I can't see you, but raise your hand if you've gotten more than 4 or 5 emails just yesterday from businesses that you've associated with, all telling you, hey, we're here. This is what we're doing to be safe. This is how we're doing things. Email is it's a comment. It's a me too. Okay, everybody has done that. Now, be unique. I sat down with a client the other day and I said, okay, imagine this, guys. When's the last time you got a snail mail postcard? Now, imagine if you took your top 20 customers and you got plenty of time right now, get somebody to handwrite a postcard to your top 20 customers and say, 1, I'm in business. 2, we're all in this together, be compassionate. And 3, tell them a solution that you can offer them and put it in the mail. Now, are they going to get that? I don't know about you, but there's not much coming in my mail today other than bills in bulk mail that's still flowing out there. But having a personal postcard come from one of the people that you do business with, is that going to catch your attention? Be unique. Absolutely be unique. Okay? Know your numbers. Listen, with all this money coming in, it's going to be real easy to spend money on TV, spend money on pay-per-click, spend money to increase your website or whatever. Spend, spend, spend. That's not what we want to do in marketing. We want to invest. And when we know that we invest, I've got one of my clients investing in pay-per-click right now. Absolutely knows the numbers. We spend $10 on pay-per-click and he's got $100 coming back in. How many times are we going to do that? Forever. Forever. If we know those numbers, we can market effectively and drive business. If you don't know the numbers, you're into the old way of doing things, and that is I'm going to spend money here and I don't know if it's working or not. Okay, guys, before the crisis, that's what us as action coach, business coaching did. In this crisis, it's absolutely what we're doing. And coming out of this crisis, it's what we can help you do as well. Know your numbers and look at how do we buy customers, buy them effectively, and invest in marketing, not spend in marketing. So again, if I summarize on this one right here, got to increase the marketing, use the stimulus packages to get those things going, be unique, and be timely. Okay. Now, staffing changes. Again, take a deep breath right now. Write down that first bullet. Your people have a mindset of fear. The person that can change it is you. It's not going to change on TV. With the minor exception of Governor Bashir, he does a whole lot to take that fear way down. Look at what he says every single day and how he delivers it. He is being a great leader, and he's addressing the fact that people are fearful right now. Your people are fearful. Address it, recognize it. It's not a negative. It is where they are. We need to communicate to them where they are. So in the staffing change, recognize that your people, your team, the people you depend on, the people that absolutely need to be there when we come out of this, are in a position of fear right now. Be able to communicate to them where they are and guide them out. You're the leader, you're the dad, you're the mom, okay? They're looking to you for that vision. You got to keep as many people as possible. These stimulus packages are going to help that, okay? When we come out of this, you're going to need your people. Now, again, in some instances, if you're in the airline industry, are we going to be flying as many planes? No. So keeping everyone may not be the right solution, but keep the people that you need, keep the numbers that you need, and keep the numbers that you need to come out of this. Guys, we've kind of touched on 70 degrees a couple of times. Just the last weekend, holy cow, the number of HVAC companies that I've seen in my neighborhood as I walk my dog is just exploding. As soon as those air conditioners kick on, they're going to need a whole lot of people. So they need to plan for those people to be able to service, because that is something that is going to come back and is going to come back strong. Listen, guys, as a society, we're addicted to air conditioning. We're going to need it whether we're in crisis, denial, or thriving. It doesn't matter. Those people need to be keeping all of their people to be ready for this to come back. And that's where the stimulus packages can help them. Okay. Plan for the new normal. Again, like I said, the staffing, we're not going to go back. We're going to go forward. Okay. Life will be different. How do we look at that, and how do we staff properly? You know, last week we were looking at how do we cut staff. Now I'm saying, how do we staff appropriately going forward? That's the change in the theme just in 1 week, is we now as leaders look forward, not look defensive. Okay, so plan for your recovery. And again, looking forward. In an economic cycle, we have an economic summer. We came off of a long summer there. Typically it's 7 to 10 years. Our economic good times was a whole lot longer than that. Typically in a cycle, the fall takes over a year. We experienced the fall in like 2 weeks. Boom, boom, leaves are off the trees, fall was done. We're in a winter right now, okay? Flat out, we're gonna be in a winter for at least the month of April, probably beyond that, but only in months, not in a year, not in 2 years, okay? Again, a typical cycle, the winter lasts a long time. Take a look at 2008. It lasted a pretty long time. This winter is not gonna be that long. It's likely gonna be in months. Spring's gonna come out. You know, there's a whole lot of intelligent people that are saying it's going to come back roaring, it's going to come back slow, it's going to come back sputtering. I don't know which one's right, other than it's going to come back. We need to plan for it. It's going to come back. Likely it's going to be shorter because we're going to come back quickly. Again, smart people say this wasn't an economic issue, this was a health issue that shut everything down. Now, what they're not accounting for is We've never had to start the economy back up from being shut down for this time. But that's the cycle. Then the summer comes back again. And again, folks, summers last a long time in an economic cycle. This next summer is going to come back. It's going to last a long time. When we're the first ones in line to reap that benefit, we're going to be the ones that survive and thrive. So again, look at this, recognize that this is something that's going to happen. It's happened in the past. We had, 9/11 hit, went through this cycle. 2008 recession hit, went through this cycle. Coronavirus, going through this cycle. Is it going to happen again? Yes, it will. Don't know when, but we know it will. It's just going to happen. We need to plan for that. And we need to have this ready to come out and ready to come out fast. Again, if you don't know how to do this, or you're sitting there and it's keeping you up at night, make a phone call, get some help, and have somebody guide you through this, because you can survive this. Okay, so let's summarize this. Change is normal. I said be the leader. Folks, be positive. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Learn to communicate and learn to meet your people where they are, not where you want them to be. Identify your support. There's all sorts of financial support out there, and there's people support. Recognize that when you take that support, we're looking at you and us as business owners to drive the recovery, to drive the survival, and to drive the recovery afterwards. Be part of that. Be one of those two servants that are doing positive things with what you're entrusted. Assess your situation. Everybody likes to say, my situation, my business is unique. Yes, it is. Congratulations. This is an affirmation. Everybody's business is unique here. And so assessing your situation is absolutely unique to you. Find somebody that can help you assess that and get it right. And how do we pivot on this and go from the shutdown and the survive to looking forward of how we're going to come out of this? Review your goals. I said this, the parable. If you do nothing else, Google that, YouTube it, look at the parable of the 3 servants and the talents, and commit to being one of the 2 servants that do things right with that. Okay, adjust your plan. Again, blinding flash of the obvious, adjust your plan. Listen, if you're the only one that's adjusting your plan, then you're the only one that's based on your own experience here. And we all don't know what we don't know. Okay, use something going forward. Use the experience of people that have been through. Have we been through a coronavirus shutdown? No. Are there plenty of people that have been through crisis situations? Absolutely. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but dang, that's what military veterans were trained to do, is go through this situation and look at abnormal situations and crisis situations. We are, the outline of our presentation here comes from my military background. These are the things and the way we look at situations to look at the whole picture. Okay, plan for the recovery and the new growth. Again, this is one of our offers. We can help you here. Crisis action plan. Today's offer is $595, and we will work with you to put your plan together that's specific for you in this area and get you to go forward. Okay. Now, what it is, action plan. Listen, myself, veteran, military experience on planning for crisis actions. In addition to that, Action Coach has over 1,000 businesses around the globe, and we're pulling best practices from all over the globe to help you as the business owner. The plan that we're looking at here is we're going to put a plan together that's right for you, that's focused on these 7 steps. Okay. Then in addition to that, we're going to meet with you 2 more times as we've got the plan in place. How's it working for you? And do those pivot adjustments. Now, when we're finished, you're going to get an email with this link right here that goes directly to our calendar, and you can set up a time to get started on this. Okay. Again, you'll get an email, look for the email, you can sign right up, and we're here to help, guys. We're all in this together. Okay. Thanks for being with us today. Again, look to the future. You've got lots of resources this week that you didn't have. Next week, we're going to do the same thing Wednesday morning. Obviously, it's going to be new. Between now and then, things are going to change. Are we going to use the same structure? Likely, because it's a good way to look at the situation. Are we going to have brand new, fresh material? Absolutely. We had so much fresh material here because of everything that's happening. We're going to have fresh guidance for you next week. Okay. Listen, we're all in this together. Keep your chin up. Google and learn as fast as you can what these resources are and take care of your people. Have a super day. Thank you.